I watched the first episode with Cage. I thought it was wrong. I watched a few more episodes and I was just, I just fell off.
It took my son a minute, but he's hooked on it now. It took him a minute.
I did just watch him.
Mariah Stokes.
I tell you,
Dillard Stokes.
I like Cottonmouth. I just saw it again, and I appreciate his element to it. But he wasn't a fighter. He had no extra. They didn't give him anything. He was like Piranha, and I liked Piranha in season 2 because the little guy, he was a hustler, and he was really good with that. I definitely liked him, but. God, Bushmaster, who is a super
was next
villain.
level. Okay,
Yes,
he really
and he's
was.
doing Capoeira.
Doing Capoeira,
See, now I gotta do that.
You didn't
I haven't. All I got through the first episode, and then me and my wife, we've been on. Listen, I apologize, but I was still in Blackdom. Me and my wife have been on Cloak and Dagger, so I done followed them.
But Cloak and Dagger's only on 4, right?
No, they were episode 6.
Okay, but this was, they not every, I don't know if they every week or they took a week off or
I
something.
don't know. They've been playing around. We kind of, is it up yet?
Right.
Is it up
Because the
yet?
first one, I didn't even know it came on my basic cable package.
it's
I had
on
to watch it online. And with my
I
little,
don't feel bad. I just got cable back.
my little fake Fire Stick, I can project. I can do a video with my Fire Stick on my computer.
Right.
So we just watched it on your
On
website.
bootleg. There you go.
No, it's free on their website.
On whose site?
Free form.
Mirror now?
Oh, I have free
Yeah, I do
form.
Miracast.
It's on
You
free
never seen me
form.
do that at the house with my
I
pad?
have
And I
free
shoot
form
on my pad up on the TV?
What's that thing?
No, you come back to the
Sling
house,
TV.
I'll show you.
Sling TV has free form.
You can get an app
I
on
have
your
Sling
phone
TV.
to do it.
Really?
Yeah, I
I
had
watch
to
it
do it
on the
on
phone.
my little. Well, no, if you mirror it, it doesn't matter. It's going to be the same size
Exactly.
when it gets on the TV.
And the reception and the
It's all up to your
resolution?
internet. It's all
Yeah.
up to your internet.
Yeah.
As long as my internet is strong, I'm good, and I can even.
But
Especially if you have it hardwired.
It's
I
the
can plug
internet
mine
in the
in.
house, not the internet from the phone.
You can do it from your phone. I did it from my phone. I only have one little dead zone in my house. That's it.
The only thing about your phone is that it's going to use your data. Now, if
Exactly.
you have internet use at the house, you
I
get
have
off the
it, yeah, I
Wi-Fi
have
there,
it. I have
it might be a
internet
little
at the
better.
house.
Right,
But
because
I have
streaming
with,
will take your data.
Yeah,
With
that'll
Yeah,
Metro,
no.
I have it unlimited.
Okay, then you're good.
No, I don't have
sort
none.
of unlimited, trust me. Because once you do a lot of data, they kind of start,
Yeah, they
skip.
start. They start.
skip.
Yeah,
What the
I
heck?
worked at Track Phone. They all do it. They slow you down once you start using a bunch of data, even if you have unlimited.
Well,
At a certain point, they throttle you.
Let me start this panel conversation thing, because normally they'll have tables for us. Somebody will take a picture of the room so that way that they don't hold it against us, or we at least record this event. But we have 4 sci-fi people from South Florida. That's a good thing. To talk to us today and have a conversation, because we're just going to be interactive.
Yeah.
Right. This is all. It is what it is. So on my far right, we have Mr. Keith Wade, professor of theater at Florida Memorial College. He's also a playwright, a filmmaker, and an actor. Probably he likes it in the reverse order because he is a big-time actor. He just finished a real good play. And then next we have Mr. Gary D. Wright, who is
How y'all doing?
probably our leading voiceover actor that hasn't done it yet. But he's a radio personality.
We've done one
podcast.
film. We've done one film so far, right?
Okay.
We did most of the voices for the entire production. I want to say all except maybe 5 or 6 characters. We were back and forth doing different characters. It was awesome.
So in addition to being a radio personality, a radio person, he is a comic book enthusiast, and this is his second comic book convention, so he doesn't really know how varying the range is.
Actually, it's my 4th.
Fourth?
This is my first time to the big one. This is my very
Supercon.
first
So
time
you've
to
done the
Supercon.
small ones.
I've done several
This
small
is my
ones.
second time at Supercon.
Oh,
I've done about a dozen already.
The little,
So
yeah.
our queen mother here, down here, next to my immediate right is Miss Aaliyah Stanford. She is a retired school teacher.
No, retired deputy clerk.
Oh, retired deputy clerk. Let's get it right.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
And she is also a sci-fi writer, children's books, young adult. And she is also a Trekkie. So she is her and Keith are regulars on what I call the Monster Panel. And I've been producing this now for 7 years. This is the Monster Panel. My name is Jeff Carroll. I am a science fiction writer, horror filmmaker, all that. That's pretty much all that. I'm a school teacher too, but we don't mention that. We just mention the nerd characteristics.
Geeked up.
Yes, geeked up all the way.
So geek cred.
Oh yeah, somebody have their phone.
Come on in, y'all. Come on in.
How you doing?
You want me to do? What do you want me to do with the phone?
Just keep my time. We started the panel, so you can sit behind us here.
Come on.
Okay.
Yeah, or if you want to scooch around.
Yeah,
Scooch up.
around. Oh, they got pizza. Don't come too close. My stomach will growl. We are so early of a panel that they're still setting up the room. That's amazing.
Yeah, so we had to get started.
Yes.
Pizza looks great, dude.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I guess
Convention.
$12.
I always had it.
Wait on, put the rest of it in the car.
That's life.
Going to
$12 a slice?
Call the Pizza Hut. It's $7.77.
What?
I'm
It
scared to ask how much.
it must be hard to chew. You must be chewing like
Scared to
that.
ask how much the water is.
Yes. So
I was thinking about getting water.
I normally have a clip to start our panel off, but again, like I said, under the circumstances, we're gonna roll with it old school way.
If you want to wait a minute, got it.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, you said, well, we can show the clip after if you want to, if we have time.
We're gonna get into good conversation. Today's topic is beyond Afrofuturism. As you can see, I'm proudly wearing and sporting my Wakanda paraphernalia, Wakanda for life, Wakanda forever, as we like to say. I was totally impressed with what I saw in the movie that came out this February, Black Panther. What I liked about it was how Marvel has no problem having Jessica Jones, which is a thrillerish type superhero story. They have Captain America, which is like all action. He's like the Marvel Jason Bourne. And then you have Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man, which are comedy. It was cool for them to explore Afrofuturism with Wakanda. And what I liked about Wakanda's being Afrofuturism is that Afrofuturism has been around since the jazz era, you know, with Sun Ra, you know, and other jazz artists, and then even with hip hop, you had Soul Sonic Force talking about Planet Rock.
Yeah.
And they dressed in spectacular outfits,
Yeah.
you know, which was Afrofuturism. Now it's carried on by,
Psychedelic Earth, Wind and Fire.
yes, you know, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Girl, what you talking about?
With, again, you know, when you get to Earth, Wind, and Fire, each one of those, you know, you can almost say like Avatar: The Last Airbender stole it from Earth, Wind, and Fire. We're going to claim it because it is what it is. You know, just when you carve and date it, it was there before Avatar: The Last Airbender. So now we have acts like Janelle Monáe, who is very proudly boasting Afrofuturistic, almost a steampunk type of futuristic element. It brings us to it brings us to where we are now. It is now something for us to talk about. As writers and enthusiasts, I would like to explore this topic and for us to go into the future of it. So I have some questions. I'm going to pull my computer up if I don't remember all of them. But my first question is definitely, how did you, because this is new to all of us, everybody aware of what Afrofuturism is? Okay. I want us to hash it out. Because first of all, I'm an old revolutionary Killmonger tribe, right? It's easier to say it now because Michael B. Jordan is friendly. I ain't gonna say I'm Mr. Farrakhan. That'll scare people away. But to say I'm from the Killmonger tribe, I used to always say it's not Afro-futuristic, it's Afro-futuristic because there's no country called Africa, it's African. But I'm not gonna micro argue. I will just say, amongst the title, I will say, how do you define Afrofuturism? And we'll go down the panel. Keith, you started off. How do you define Afrofuturism?
I definitely define Afrofuturism as fiction with people of color beyond our current circumstances. I was just having a discussion today with somebody that said our first visual representation of Afrofuturism was Lieutenant Uhura in Star Trek. And before then, to be honest with you, if we had to really analyze it, we didn't think we'd make it to the future. We didn't think we would make it. It was just somewhere along the line, we were gone and the rest of everybody moved on, but we were just, we didn't make it. So Afrofuturism really speaks to the enduring presence of us as a culture, as a people, as a part of life. And I love that because not only does it say something about the beauty and divinity of us as folks, but it dispels all these other myths that we're not intelligent, that we're not flourishing, that we didn't create life, and we're not the amazing scientists from Akubulan, that's another term, that we are. Octavia Butler was a name that very few people know, but she is the mother of Black science fiction. And she's really that part of us that we didn't really get a chance to, that's the auntie's house we didn't necessarily go over to, because before that, everybody was saying, oh, she was weird, but she's not weird, she's us. So that's what I define as.
Okay, Gary, not to trump what Keith said, but how do you spin it? What's your spin?
I think Afrofuturism has a lot to do with all the realistic things that we deal with, whether it's science, whether it's music, whether it's technology, whether it's culture that is combined together to give us an opportunity to express who we are, our new identity as minorities or as people of color in this country, and allow a legacy to begin to be built. I think the biggest part of that Afrocentrism that we need to really focus on is with the children. I just did a thing the other day. We were doing a young entrepreneurs class, and one of the things I talked to the kids about, I said, how many of you watched the Black Panther movie? And all of you, yeah. I said, did you guys like it? I said, did you think that was cool, the fact that they were able to create clothing with all this technology? They were able to do all kind of medical procedures with this technology. They were able to create music and all kind of unique additions to culture. Well, that's real. It's an opportunity for you to begin to build that. And the kids, they got all excited. And I said, right now in this room, there are two of you that can connect and create something beautiful. I said, young lady, what do you do? She said, well, I do graphic arts. The kid over here said, oh, I'm starting a business. I need a logo. Here we go. We just made a connection. Just having a conversation. Literally, in the church, they did that quick, made that conversation. And they would actually end up hooking up afterwards, and she was going to design his logo for him. And I said, this is the beginning of what this is about. It's about us beginning to create our own brands and build our own legacy, dynasty, if you will. And I think that's kind of cool, because we bring another spoonful of something good to the pot. That's the way I see it.
Okay. Queen, young adult writer, how do you define it? How do you see Afrofuturism?
At its essence, Afrofuturism is a cultural perspective. It's a different take. It is born out of our past, our experiences, our worldview, our vision. And to the extent that we have the ability and the capacity to dream and to imagine, this is how the future gets created. If you look back at Star Trek, like he said, I'm a big time Trekkie. You look back at Star Trek, how many things from Star Trek are in use today? This is the importance of science fiction. And it's important to have all the different diverse voices at the table because you can enrich, from different perspectives. It makes it that much richer, the experience of it. And so to me, at essence, it's a perspective. And a perspective we should build upon, a perspective we should share. One of the very best things that happened was that with Black Panthers, it kind of put us on the map. Mm-hmm. Nobody knew Black science fiction writers or science fiction writers of color existed almost before Black Panther movie. So now you have all of these people that are discovering that you have content creators of color in that genre. Black cosplayers, who knew, and so it's coming out now and it's a good thing. I have the resource list here of science fiction writers, like you said, going back to the jazz era, going back to the 30s, 40s, and so forth, and up to today. There are African superhero creators. There's a Haitian superhero, who knew? Mm-hmm. And so it's just such a good opportunity at this time for everybody to be able to step up and say, here's what we have, here's what we have, and it makes it that much more interesting and enriching. So that's what I think.
I'm in agreement with all of what you all say, but I think an element of what you said, Ms. Stanford, is probably something that I think I use when I define it all the time. And that is that Afrofuturism is not just the future of African people and their descendants, but it is the future through the eyes of African people and their descendants, which is different from other cultures' views. I always like to say, if you go on my website, one of my favorite little video clips is last year when I was at African Music Fest up in Tampa or something like that, and it was so many people that didn't know anything about sci-fi and Afrofuturism that I was just like, not even selling my books, I was just straight explaining one person after another. So I was so ramped up that when the camera guy came to me, he said, hey, just tell me about your book. I said, just imagine, War of the Worlds or Independence Day, which is a Western view of aliens and life in space, that they'll come to Earth and invade us. I said, but yet, they tell us all the time that aliens built the pyramids. And then they'll say, okay, your African people are from the Nile Valley, so if their aliens built it, then they may look like those people from the Nile Valley. And so the African view of alien life may not be an adversarial one. Mm-hmm. It may be one where it is welcoming and saying, hey, my brothers, what's going on? Ain't seen y'all in a while. But yet, if we allow the European or Western narrative to shape that element of future, we might shoot down our brothers and sisters just because we only have one outlook on it. And they'll say, okay, so how does that translate to Asian futurism? Well, the closest one that I'm familiar with, of course, is throughout anime. There's a bunch of futuristic portrayals, where they're colonizing space, they're living out there, they have all of those elements. But my first introduction to it was through the three-headed Monster Zero fighting Godzilla. King Ghidorah. And the different people, and their view was there wasn't even any black, white, or Indian people. It was all Asians from outer space. And I didn't see that as something that I could not get into, because I enjoyed it. I even enjoyed Gamera, who is another galactic or universal creature, so I did not look at it as something that was anti-other things, more so just one culture's projection of the future. Now, my next question, I'll go first, and then any of you all can jump in. But it talks about why is it? I'm gonna go get hip hop real quick. So why is Afrofuturism so hot? Why is it so hot right now? You know, if you ask anybody, how did Black Panther do? Everybody will say black, white, or whatever. Anybody, it broke all the records. You know, you might have some people that are upset about it doing so well. Like I had one teacher that worked with me, and he saw every Marvel movie except Black Panther. And I said, that's interesting. You know, that's interesting. And there are some people.
Did you ask him why?
I didn't want to get into it because we co-workers. But I listened to him, and part of what the explanation, without having a direct question, was because I didn't ask him because I didn't think he would give me the right answer or an honest answer, because I felt it might have been indicative of some other sentiment. But he was saying that it didn't really fit in with the other Marvel movies, and I felt that that was a lame excuse, because I felt that if you saw Infinity Wars, there would have been no way to understand Wakanda if it wasn't for Black Panther. And it's beautiful that they took a whole story to show us the world of Wakanda, that it wasn't just a short stop. Because imagine if you saw Infinity Wars without seeing Black Panther. You wouldn't know anything about Wakanda.
Does he know that Black Panther's one of the Avengers?
Well, you see him in Civil War, which I see, you know, over and over. But again, right, and worst thing about it is my school ran field trip to see the movie, so teachers could have gone for free. So I just felt that there might have been a subtle prejudice on it being something that was anti other elements of it. And I just, you know, I said I get into all cultures, expressions of the past, present, and future. You know, I watch Kung Fu movies that don't have anybody but Chinese people in it. And I love them to death.
Awesome.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I didn't ask for no diversity in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. You know what I'm saying?
I really love that
you know,
movie.
matter of fact, when somebody else steps in there, maybe an Indian, you know, if they're doing, what do you call it? Yoga Kung Fu, then maybe they can come in. But if they come in, I was like, you know, that's too contrived. You got to keep it.
Because Bruce Leroy jumped out of a tree. You
Bruce
kinda
Leroy,
like,
or the one guy, the one guy. So really,
who's the master?
right? So
Showing up.
right. It kind of cheeses it up.
Yeah.
You know, you know. So to me, I don't see it as adversary. So now on the opposite, I think that's why it's so hot. You know, you try to compare Black Panther to another movie, you really don't have anything else to compare it to. So one, it was the first of its kind, and it was a different expression. We've never seen that. I mean, I write black sci-fi, and I was watching it like, yo, I'm taking notes myself, and I think of the future, you know? So I think because it was unique, and was the first one, and it was somebody else. It was like that kid in the classroom that never speaks up, and all of a sudden he has something to say, and everybody's listening. You know what I'm saying? And it's a real complete example. So I think that's why it's hot right now. But anybody else want to jump in and tell us why?
I pretty much think it's like what you said, because, and I've said before, we have had a couple of decades now of back-to-back, you know, superhero, science fiction, and so forth and so on. How many Batmans? How many Supermans? How many Spider-Mans? How many X-Men? How many Wolverines?
Fantastic Four.
And so people, I think, were,
and they're not even good.
I think people were hungry for something different. I think people were really hungry for something different. And even before this movie came out, it was much anticipated because people wanted to see something else beside the 12th reincarnation of Superman. You know?
You know,
What was the one where they gave him a baby mama?
Yeah, like, and then that whole thing
So they
disappeared
had
after that.
clearly run out of ideas. So yeah, let's do something different. So I thought it was great.
yeah, either one of you all feel there's something else that makes Afrofuturism so hot right now?
I think it was time.
Yeah.
Just time. You know, a lot of folks were putting up memes or posts about, oh, this isn't the first black superhero. It was Meteor Man.
That was a joke.
And
it was meant to be a
it
spoof.
was Blank Man.
Well, it was meant to be a
Right,
spoof.
right.
Yeah,
Like-
it was intended
As
to
long
be
as they
a
didn't
spoof.
say
That was the
Steel.
intention.
Well, you can even go back further
It
than
was
that.
still
Go back further to who?
cinematic.
Mantis.
Mantis.
If you don't ever talk about it, it was the first primetime TV show.
Carl Lumley.
Yeah, and he was in a wheelchair, and he was black, so he had two things against him
He
already.
was disabled and
Mantis.
black.
Yeah.
He wasn't gay.
He wasn't gay.
If he was gay,
If he
then
been
the
gay, it'd
whole
have been
world-
on, boy.
You would have had the whole.
Everything working with it.
That's what
Check
made
all the
Mantis
boxes,
such a
yeah.
great hero is that when he existed amongst society, he was disabled.
Right.
And he had the ability to use his disability to be super.
Right.
Yes.
And that's what made him such a great hero. But of course, it wasn't well received. Like you said, it
Right,
wasn't
time. We're ready for it.
Yeah, they weren't ready to
Black
people to get
Panther,
it.
another great element about the movie is it wasn't done from a vengeful perspective.
It wasn't.
In fact, he often, when he met people who didn't know about his viewpoint, he would tell them, you know, I kind of feel sorry for these cats that they don't really understand our Western perspective.
Right.
But in spite of that, there was never any element of vengeance or we got to get back at the white man. It was no. We're going to use our technology to better our own folk. We might hide it from you, but we're not using it to come after you.
I think.
Well, that
what-
was the whole thing with him
Right,
and
with him and
Killmonger.
Yeah, that was the dynamic
Right.
between him
And
and
that's
Killmonger.
That
what
was
made
the
it so
dynamic.
great.
That made it compelling.
Right, the dynamic made it great, and the fact that he chose that alternative perspective made it so interesting because you had people who didn't want to see it because they were expecting it to be this vengeful piece that was supposed to teach people this lesson. It was like, no.
And that's
Well, I think that's why some people felt some kind of way about it.
And that's why I
Because
think
they,
when you asked, did I ask my coworker, because it was another person that I ran into that runs my comic book store, and he was like, "Oh, we just saw Infinity Wars, but Jeff, I didn't see Black Panther yet." And I'm like, well, you know, first I take it personal that you feel that you got to tell
You gotta
me,
say this to
right?
me.
You
Why
got to
you
say it
gotta
to
tell
me. I was like, you know,
I gotta apologize to the brother. For
right.
My bad, I didn't watch the last Spider-Man movie.
And I already feel like a super nerd when I come in here and I'm like the only one that come, you know, only brother that got a bunch of comic books waiting. You know, sometimes I see some other black people come in there, but I'm like, when I come in, I'm always like the only one in the store. You mentioned it, you know, exactly. I think what you said, Keith, is this climate where we got to make America great again in the sense that if they come over the border, they're all bad people, and they're going to take America from us. So it's not just that it's Mexican, it's people of color. So if you read a story, or if you give people of color an opportunity to imagine the future, that we're going to go, you know, all of our stories are going to be kill all the white people. And as much as we think that's the elephant in the room, in the sci-fi, black sci-fi community, I have not read a story where that has happened. The close that it's ever come to that was Killmonger. Yeah. And he didn't even say kill all the white people. He said dismantle the structures. He said, I know which cities I'm going to target. I'm going to take those out. So, I mean, the other one that I saw was the Spook Who Sat by the Door.
Yeah.
And the Spook Who Sat by the Door was a secret agent who infiltrated the CIA. And then he came back out and he trained a street gang to be able to take over a city.
Well, see, but this is during the era of COINTELPRO. And
Right.
All that
So
yeah, it was in context.
It was in context, the same, you know, it's like you said. But in this context, we had Luke Cage, you know, come out, break the internet. Before Luke Cage, we had Finn break the face of Star Wars. And so we've been slowly creeping. The thing that I am waiting for.
Black Lightning.
Now we have Black Lightning. One of the things that I'm kind of waiting for is not a re-envisioned black character, but an authentically created black character. So you don't have to take off Luke Cage's tiara and bracelets and take his yellow collar shirt off and his chain belt. You don't have to re-envision Killmonger to some Michael B. Jordan cool guy that still represents it. You will have a lot of those things from the origin and from the creation, because I give Ryan Coogler, I give, can't pronounce his name, from Luke Cage.
But I think you're addressing though, like, I understand what you're saying, but it's also context of the period and the time. Because back in the 70s, that's how everybody's dressed, even if it's racial or not, you know.
I do think that there is elements of that. As much as you might have saw Doodle, what is it?
Yeah.
Doodlebug and Starsky and Hutch, and we had Foxy Brown.
Huggy Bear.
Yeah, Huggy Bear.
Huggy Bear.
Doodlebug, whatever it was.
Huggy Bear.
Come on, man, it's Huggy Bear.
I think it, but when I read, I'll tell you this, I still have yet to meet a black person that says Sweet Christmas.
Right.
Okay, so as much as he was,
But that's his signature. It's not so much
yes,
saying
but
it because
I'm gonna
he's
say
black.
even
He's saying
in
it
the
because he's
60s.
Luke Cage, though.
Okay, I'm going to say even in the 60s and 70s, like Five on the Black Hand Side is stereotypic of the time, but yet it gave birth to the hottest first line in hip hop. I'm Imp the Dimp, the ladies pimp, the women fight for my delight. I'm the great master of the three MCs. So that from Sugar Hill Gang is straight copied from Five on the Black Hand Side, which was a 70s movie, but that lingo still translated. I still think, you know, with Shaft, there's a difference between Shaft and Luke Cage in the comic books. Okay.
All right, let me ask you something.
Mhm.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
With Cyborg and Justice League,
Which cyborg? Teen
The-
Titans
the
cyborg or
from
the last
film
movie?
Justice
No,
League.
Cyborg.
Cyborg from
yeah.
Justice League.
When the film was realistic,
Okay, yeah, that one.
I enjoyed it.
But I still felt a little put upon that his last line had to be "Booyah." It just seemed like, huh? You feel me?
Well, who are these characters created by?
Like I
Well,
said,
and then who are they talking to?
I'm just like,
You have to,
really? Really?
I think
Do we say "Booyah"? Like, does anybody say "Booyah"?
who wears a bright yellow T-shirt
well, you have
with a
to-
collar up?
You have to look at who they're speaking to as well, though, because
That
you
is
know
the
the
Teen
demographic
Titans.
that they're speaking to. I had a little young Filipino girl that I know. You know, she doesn't realize that black people my age don't call each other G and homie. What are you gonna do? You can't account for everything.
Right.
People they're gonna get what they get from it. You know, you can't even. You know, she don't know any different.
Well, even with like Black Lightning, all right, the character when he turns to Black Lightning and he tries to like talk, you know, in the Afrocentric jargon, it's like just have him be a person.
Right.
What up, bro? You know, I'm mad about this stuff, and it's like we can tell that that voice is like contrived, his force is put upon it.
Right.
Just be the intelligent educator that you are.
Right.
Yeah, but on the flip side of that, if you're dealing with someone that's their way of speaking and whatever else, you're trying to meet them.
Yeah, it's
Right.
situational.
And I've
Yeah,
seen
situational.
and I've seen people have that
Yeah.
awkward challenge.
Yeah.
Like every principal that I've had in my schools has tried to talk to the young people, but a lot of them do it. The best model of that was Barack Obama. Barack Obama didn't come off
No,
corny.
he didn't do it very well.
No, but he didn't come off as awkward as Black Lightning is coming off. No way. He even got the brush on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But would you compare that just in terms of superheroes, the way that Black Lightning spoke to villains versus this put upon voice that Christian Bale used as Batman?
Oh Jesus, don't even talk about it. I want to just pop him in his mouth.
Matter.
Well,
I don't know.
Right. Does my voice change the way I look? You
I don't know
know,
if that really
I
matters.
can't even go there because I couldn't get past his list. It just threw me off every time
you know
he
what?
opened his mouth. So
I
I can't even
think
go there.
when you bring that up, I saw it
But
first in
that's
that
minutia,
Batman,
though, you
right?
know?
But when it became irritating to me was when I saw it in Arrow. If you ever watch Arrow, the TV show,
I've seen it.
he really does the raspy voice thing.
No, but they got a different arrow now.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not
but
the same arrow.
but in the way he
Arrow
goes
is
out
just
into the
us.
public,
Yeah.
he uses the raspy voice, and I think that kind of worked for the limited imagination that you need for comic books. But I think they should have re-envisioned that and did something else. Because I mean, Batman's capable of having something in his mask
His
that
cowl.
projects a different face. You know, I think Superman has to figure out something more than just those glasses in this time period because we have facial recognition now. You know what I'm saying? So how are you going to operate?
Ro was always new, right?
No, but the world would know if he's on
was always
video.
new.
If they try to post a picture up on Facebook of Superman, it's going to automatically populate Clark Kent. You know, so just
Technology's changed.
yeah. So
Changing slightly. When Superman was originally created, you know, he jumped tall buildings. He didn't fly.
Right.
They kept
That's right.
upping the
That's
powers that he
right.
got eventually in the
Exactly.
storyline. He got so powerful.
Because he
that
didn't
there
have
were bad
X-ray
guys he
vision
could
at
fight.
first either, did he?
No.
He didn't have any of that. He was
X-ray
just
vision.
a strong guy that could.
Right.
Jump
And then they kept
Can I just
adding
say
stuff.
something?
yeah, of course.
Sure.
We got double Dutch, so you can jump like right in.
Yes, no problem. So I wanted to talk about two of the topics that you guys are going to discuss. The first was why now for Afrofuturism.
Yes.
Part of it is who in 2018 still goes to the movies.
I can't.
The answer was black people.
I guess they
Answer is-
yeah.
Who were
This
to,
social
Now you're saying
I'm going to see the
ethnicity.
Robin.
That was a
but
different.
more so like also other movie franchises. For example, The Purge. They noticed that 80% of the audience of The Purge would be like people of color, black people.
Wow.
And now in the latest Purge movie, the majority of the cast is black or Hispanic.
This last movie they just did?
So what you saying?
First part.
White people don't go to the movies anymore?
No, they don't.
Damn.
They don't.
I mean, I tried to fast forward it. I'm like,
That's news to me. I did not
Flag
know
on the
that.
play. Flag on the play.
There is a flag on the plate?
who saw the
So
Notebook?
actually, I didn't know that. I did not know that.
I do know that numbers have reflected that our buying power has increased.
Exactly.
Right. And I will say, what we do is we heard. We do like, that's good. We all girls trip. We all there. And we're not scattered because in my generation, we used to count one movie a year. Like we felt we had to support it,
Right.
or else it would go away.
It used to be where
And-
Will Smith would come out with Summer.
That was it.
Yeah,
That was it.
and I tell you, I still have that mentality in the back of my head. Like I didn't see Gabrielle Union's last movie, and I'm scared to tell people because I feel I gotta see it just so we can get
you don't.
another one.
I'm not
And
doing that.
and I was like, you know what? I can't all of them. You know, but it used to be like that, and that's really up until 2014.
But you had another point as well.
Yes.
What was that?
Yeah, I just meant like the promoters of media and movies in 2018 would be black people, black Twitter. Generally speaking, on social media, I would say that influenced the success of Black Panther more so than anything else.
I think it did because what happened with Black Panther, you know, like I said, it's a continuum. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, the movies are a continuum. One movie leads into the next one. But the average person who's not a geek into this stuff doesn't know that.
Exactly.
And so, you know, they got the built-in audience that Marvel already has,
Plus
all of these
the
people
churchgoers.
the church people that
It's
wouldn't
hard
know.
It's a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, right.
It
You
was a
know, so
cultural
it was
event.
this
It was a
plus
cultural-
that,
so many
you
ways.
know?
So
And so the combination, put it over the top.
what I want you to answer this question, and it is right on the lines of what you're saying. In terms of it being a cultural phenomenon, it wasn't because it was an all-black movie. We've seen that before.
Yeah.
Black movies were limited to gang, Boys in the Hood, you know,
The nigga
the little
story.
Christian stories, leading out of the Boys in the Hood that Tyler Perry produced, or comedies, Kevin Hart, Eddie Murphy. You know, why we supported Will Smith, not because Independence Day, Wild Wild West, or iRobot were black movies. We just were happy that it was a black lead. What made Black Panther so hot was it wasn't just a black lead. It wasn't thin, fitting into a universe that's already established, is that it was a black futuristic story. That's what made black people say, I'm tired. We had just seen Snoop Dogg the year ago in 2015 or 16 said, no, I'm not supporting any more slavery
narratives,
films,
yeah.
slave films.
We
So
were
we were
fatigued
getting
of
tired
slave
of that.
narratives,
And you know, it's also a cultural frustration to say, all right, how many Tyler Perry movies? We got another Medea, we got Medea Christmas, we got Medea Easter. You know what I'm saying?
He is scared.
And to our own frustration, Medea Boo 2 is good, or it's not even bad. And so we're like, you know, they keep hitting us with this. And so for
Tyler Perry just got to come up with another character.
right,
Something.
you know,
Other things.
and even though
They're
Get
not
Out,
willing to take the
even though
dress
Get Out was
He's
a
stuck.
horror movie, it felt
I
a
still
lot like a comedy. And Get Out, because this was 2017's breakout picture.
Okay, yeah.
Even though it was a horror, it felt a lot like a comedy.
Right.
And it was from a comedian. So even though that
But
sold
a very
a
dark
lot,
comedy.
right,
Yeah,
very dark, but it wasn't
Very
Annabelle,
compelling
it
story.
wasn't
Yeah,
Insidious,
very compelling
and so for black film moviegoers, we're not even in horror. You know, we're in
We're the
comedy.
first ones to die
We're
horror.
in which one?
We're the first ones to die in horror.
Oh,
Yes,
well,
sir.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's another
Look at
thing.
Bingo.
I want to bring up something then, which is you're mentioning horror. I just happened to be watching, I don't remember what year I know the year it was filmed, but I don't know it was like an anniversary. But it was Night of the Living Dead, and the filmmaker is talking about
The Romero
their
effect.
selection,
Yes.
you know, for Dwayne Jones. Yeah. He just was the best actor they could find. And they go, okay, you got the part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they didn't even think about the repercussions or how it affected
Right.
people and everything
And you're
else.
seeing more of
And
that too.
everybody wigged out.
It was
Yeah,
so
you're seeing
unintentional,
more
but
of that
it,
too.
Yeah.
it affected the rest of filmmaking for like up until this day.
And as much as we've had black science fiction books available, I still think that there is room to grow. I agree. I just posted yesterday a commentary that Puffy made about Black Panther. If you do get a chance, you go on Facebook, or even if you're not, because Facebook is open up to everybody. We have a page called the Monster Panel. So I make sure I post kind of every little aspect of diversity in the world of comic books and nerdedom and blerdedom, whatever you want to call it, on there. And Puffy came up with a commentary that Black Panther, it didn't move the needle. Black Panther was an anomaly, and it didn't shift it. What the young lady said is not something that Hollywood is going to follow. It needs another story and another Black Panther to really start the trend. And I'm not totally in agreement with
I'm
that,
on board with that.
because what I think is it's hard to make a film first, you know, so you have to sell these scripts, and there probably have been a bunch of scripts that have been bought
Yeah.
after Black Panther, you know.
I got attention from it.
And he's got attention.
right.
I haven't had any bites yet, but I'm writing like crazy, you know, because I believe that there are going to be things that get picked up, because
Yeah,
I believe the
absolutely. It
landscape
moved the
has
needle.
changed.
And I wanted to say something
did
right
change
along
the
those
needle.
lines. One element that we hadn't talked about yet about Black Panther, another reason it was so great, it put black women at the forefront of the movie
Yes.
in relevant roles, and they weren't exploited.
No.
They
Yeah,
were
absolutely right.
beautifully dressed, sexy women who
And
were not
contributed.
exploited and contributed.
And powerful.
And
And
the
Brady.
one of the greatest parts of that movie is at the end when that man says, "Would you kill me, my love, for Wakanda in a second?"
There you go.
I am not falling for that mess.
And you know what I like about what you pointed out was that it wasn't either or. So it wasn't Black Panther or Proud Mary. It was both together. And I know that pissed a lot of feminists off because I've seen the backlash, but that's what it should be. We should be able to be balanced. Whether it is Storm's movie and Black Panther plays a significant role, we don't have to go either or. Like Proud Mary was like, okay, women need their movie. All right, you know. But no, Black Panther was all of our movies.
And Lupita Nyong'o is now going to be the first Black Charlie's Angel.
Did you know that?
Wait, what?
Because this is our nerd.
Women.
Yeah, but they're gonna have a black woman now.
Yeah.
What? No.
That never happened. I remember watching every episode.
Well, they need
But they had
something.
Lucy Liu
They
as a
had
person
Lucy
of color,
Liu.
but
Right, they
but
have-
Lucy Liu. Oh, you talking about the new movie? I
Yeah,
never
they're
saw
gonna
the
reboot
new.
it.
yeah,
The
It's
only
a
thing I
movie
know
or a
of Charlie's
show?
Angels
They're
is
gonna
Farrah
reboot
Fawcett.
the movie. And
Okay, 'cause I worked on the show.
Be one of the angels.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, all I know
I
is-
recognize
all I
it.
know
I
is-
know.
yeah.
Now that you say it, I remember.
I only know
Yeah, I worked
Farrah.
on the show and it was.
Yeah, I didn't know Farrah Fawcett. That's that's all.
But
I
you know
about
what?
that.
And I'll say this again.
That's why I was asking, because one of the girls that was on the show, I thought was, very, very light skinned. I remember because again, I was never around the cast directly. I was always somewhere else, but I thought she was African American or of African descent.
One of the casting.
Yeah, from Charlie's
From the
Angels.
TV show.
Yeah, the
Oh,
new
man.
the
It might have been,
reboot,
but
not
she'll
the
be
movie.
the
That's
first
why I was
one.
asking, like,
Right.
what?
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
gonna
that could
reboot
be
the
true.
movie. She got cast.
Yeah, not the movie, but the TV show that they did.
Here's
7
again.
episodes and 4 aired, and it got canceled.
But and we've done this before. It goes back to Michael B. Jordan's first superhero, which was Johnny Storm, and how much of a letdown that was. As much as we like it, and he actually didn't do a bad job. It's just the story wasn't as good as the other Fantastic Fours, and even Fantastic Four hasn't been a great brand.
It was a cool concept. It just was a little too far fetched.
But then
It just lost on
That
the
last
story.
version.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And then so you got the black backlash from him portraying a white character. Then you had it in Rue in the Hunger Games. Her character was actually black in the book, but people thought
People didn't know that.
Right. People didn't read it well enough to know that she was actually black, and her whole community, that district was
Really?
black. Yes.
Yeah.
So that was the whole point of it.
Yeah.
And their district was doing the worst. You know what I'm saying?
You had profound you had profound backlash with Miles Morales and Spider-Man.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. And he was in the comic books first.
Domino
Yeah.
Devil.
Yeah.
Oh, it
so,
was rough. Like, wow.
so to avoid that backlash, we always talk about there's too many new ideas to continue rebooting, remaking,
Exactly.
and other
Exactly
stuff.
my
And
point.
so
That's how I feel about
as excited
Exactly
as I
my point.
am that we have her, I would have liked them to say, all right, let's go to some of these books
We
No, I
have
know.
so
and
much
take a character
original
from a book
content
and make it hot.
We have so much original content out there. You don't really need to go back and reimagine Spider-Man or anybody else.
Can I chime in?
Yeah,
Sure.
It's like one thing that I think, and this is from DC side of things, I just want them to do this for the comics and then just for their animated works more. It's like, I don't know what type of deal you guys signed with Dwayne McDuffie and Milestone, but get that figured out so you can use the characters again. Get Icon, get Static Shock. You know how many
Dude, do you know how many teenagers would go to the movies to see that movie?
And
I would
he-
love to be on the production team for that.
And
Oh my
he's-
God.
And he's not corny. He
I love the
figured
way
out
he
that
made it.
lingo.
I love the way he
is,
made it.
He's there. He's not booyah.
Because if you watch,
Not booyah.
He's not booyah.
so you are a fan of Static Shock, that whole animation. I watched every single episode and then went back and watched them again as I got a little older. I was like, I
You got any
love
of the comic books?
Static Shock. No, I'm always an animation dude. If it's a cartoon, I have probably watched it 2 or 3 times,
Right.
and probably can quote some lines from it. So that was the thing for me. What I did want to say something about was what you said earlier about that movie, the Purge. No, when you were talking about the Purge, and you said that there was a large percentage of studies saying that it was all black people that went to see that. I doubt it. We make up less than 20% of the population in this
13
country.
or 14.
It's really 14%. But I'm saying less than 20%, you don't really have a bucket to really throw a whole lot into, especially since we spend a lot of our money in our community out in other places. our money does not recirculate less than
If
a
that
penny.
is, you have piqued my interest.
I'm going to research that some more. Thank you.
Because again,
The demographics on horror movies in 2018 show that the majority of audiences that go see those types of movies are black.
Really?
it's amazing. And we don't
I
have
really gotta look
any
that
black
up.
horror movies. Get out and
As,
None.
as
That's
a
it.
filmmaker,
Black people like to be scared.
right, but
I
Wouldn't you
would
think
honestly
if
all
you
their
were-
ethnicities, I
if
guess.
it was Hollywood, wouldn't you say, all right, well, let's give a black horror movie a try? I'm in the middle
They've
of
done it.
production.
But it always ends up being a
They
studio.
always
like you get
bootleg.
stuff like the Brooklyn Vampire with
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy. It ain't crap.
You got to go back to the
Vampire, thank you,
70s
Vampire
to
was-
get one.
Tales from the
But it was
What was the one that Snoop Dogg did with the trilogy? It was like
Definitely some of those.
What one that Snoop Dogg did?
Yeah, Tales in the Hood. or-
Tales of the Hood. Yeah, and that was alright. It was.
no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
It
wasn't.
It was meant to be funny.
Oh,
It's not good.
Yeah, but that was one.
then-
But the police officer
The
that
police
came
officer
over.
murdering the black man, and then he's haunted by
Right.
a black ghost for killing the black man. Again, you had that racial perspective. How about having a film that's just a good horror film?
Well,
Right.
that was like, I go all the way back to Blackula.
Yeah.
But I mean,
But
And that was real corny too.
it was
back then,
just
too.
so campy.
But that's
so
how
good.
far you have to go back, you know. And again, I'm not opposed to the racial elements of it, as long as you explore it in a big perspective. The reason why is I was on a panel at Dragon Con 2 years ago, and they said we are going to celebrate one of the greatest black horror books, and I was like, wow. Which one is this?
book?
Yeah, and it was Beloved. You said it, and I said
Knew it.
to black people, that's not a horror book. That's a thriller or whatever it is.
But you know what?
because
It is a horror book,
became a revenge ghost or a spirit, it fit their narrative of it. To me, Beloved didn't scare me. It was scary-ish, but I ain't doing anything to cause it. You know what I'm saying? So karma type stuff, if you're specific, I'm fine. It's the Jasons that just kill anybody that's walking down the street.
Yeah.
Or the Freddys that, you know.
And we had one of them. They called him Candyman. Exactly. Wah, wah, wah.
Again, but that's like that was based off a slave narrative.
Yeah.
Okay. I have two questions for the panelists. We have about 8 minutes left. So I have two questions. If we can get through one, we're good to go. My question is, I'll say that one for last. What is the future of Afrofuturism? You know, where do you see it going? Anybody have an answer?
I got an answer.
Okay, let's go.
A Warrior's Path.
All right, your book?
My book and comic book.
Oh, that's right. Is it comic book ready?
Yeah, well, the comic book is coming in September.
Oh, yeah, I got a coloring
I
book.
thought you was gonna have something this
I
weekend.
wanted to have some, but we had to pull it back.
Yeah,
wanted
I had
to-
to-
Okay,
I was gonna have something
I
this week
hey,
too, yeah.
can't rush perfection.
Like you said, creating new characters and new content. That's what I wanted to do. I'm a Star Wars head at my heart. I love Star Wars. And
Sorry.
Did you like Solo?
I love Star Wars.
I still haven't seen it.
Did you like
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Donald did it. Donald did it.
Bring it. I love Solo.
What are you
Am I
talking
the
about?
only one who thought Solo was like it was okay?
Man, did you watch it again? Please watch it
You
again.
need to go back and watch
Rogue One is
it.
mine. Rogue One is mine.
Okay, Rogue One,
Rogue
nobody's
One
gonna
was
stop.
amazing.
Yeah, nobody's
Rogue
gonna
One
stop.
was amazing.
But they all died. Spoiler alert.
No.
And that gives you nothing to look forward to.
That's what makes it
That's
great.
Empire Strikes
I
Back,
don't want
but
him to
like
die. You give us
Oh no, Rogue One
So-
was amazing. And here's why Solo was amazing as well. Solo spoke to the spirit of Star Wars.
Yes.
It really spoke to the spirit of Star Wars. It had the combination of fun, adventure, and it really, like, the reason why, and we've been having this debate about Mr. Johnson, I want to be very clear that I don't want to disrespect another filmmaker, but I think Rian Johnson disrespected the mythology and the writers of Star Wars. I
Well,
profoundly
and now
disagree.
we still
I disagree.
answering Afrofuturism question, but I really want to hear that. So can you be real quick so we can get
Oh,
to
Yeah,
that?
we need to see what happened. What you got to say too?
I just, which was
Your point you're making
You
just
just
now.
saying.
Make it real quick.
about
Disrespecting
disrespecting the general, and there's just different little points that it's not geekdom to talk about the spirit and the tone of what you create that speaks to what you're trying to say. Spirit and tone in filmmaking. As a filmmaker, I know spirit and tone, how you address certain characters, what you say, how they say it, that kind of like is abhorrent to what they've already been written as.
Okay, so you're saying it's a real character behavioral reboot.
Yes.
Okay.
He spoke directly.
So I get that.
Luke Skywalker's always been hopeful.
Right.
He was not hopeful
At all.
in this at all, and there's no trace of that.
Right.
This was a total
Different.
screw you to George Lucas and J.J. Abrams and Kasdan and everybody else
Why
that
you
wrote.
disagree?
I disagree because it's like, now, I'm not saying Mr. Johnson didn't have some mistakes with the film. I'm not saying that it's flawed, especially in the script department, but it's just the way the film was written specifically and intentionally to subvert fan expectations. I gotta tip my hat off. Just to
Subverting
that.
fan expectations means I'm surprising you, but screw what the heck you thought was going to happen. That's
You see, the thing is, I
That's
think you can
arrogant.
do that. I think you can subvert fan expectations without giving them the bird. I think he tried and kind of sort of failed.
yeah. There we go. You
Okay.
failed.
Okay.
All right, so now real quick, what is the future of Afrofuturism?
I think we have so many bounds to go. That movie, I'm sorry, Black Panther. I keep going back to it. I keep seeing the ingenuity in clothing and the ingenuity in
Technological.
technology
Yeah.
itself, man. I see the possibilities of what can be made and created because these kids are on another level now, man. The amount of stuff that they're able to do with the internet, and I mean, my nephews and nieces always keep me abreast on stuff. Oh, Gary, did you hear about this? No. So you mean to tell me I can take my phone and just scan and do all
Alter reality comic books, all those kind of things.
Okay,
Yeah, so-
all right. What do you think is the future of Afrofuturism?
Original content.
Okay. Well, that jumps into mind, and I'll
Definitely
say
It's time to build our
it's
own
the same-
universe.
it's
Not
kind
only
of-
movies, books, comic books, the web series.
Right.
You know, there's some web series out there that are really, interesting.
Yeah.
It's just there's all sorts of mediums that make an avenue for original content, even if you can't get past the gatekeepers in Hollywood. There's still other avenues and plenty of them.
Now-
So I think that's what.
My answer is not only that it will protrude through all different mediums, but also through more subgenres. I'm writing my post-apocalyptic series called The Harlem Shake, and that is more like Walking Dead meets Land of the Lost meets
Land of the Lost.
yeah, Book
I
of
know,
Eli,
right?
Book of Eli, and all of those things in one. But we don't have a post-apocalyptic story. I also think like how Keith likes Solo. I think we're going to explore more cyberpunk stories. I like Solo because of the technologically advanced cyberpunk world where it's not utopian like Wakanda, right? It is sort of dystopian in a way, and I want to see us, because I've been always attracted to it, whether it was in Total Recall or not, or even what's the one that just was out last year, Blade Runner. I didn't like it, but I like the I like the world building of it. So I also think we're going to have to deal with dragons, stem created dinosaurs, stem cell dinosaurs. So I think
We're going that way in the next Jurassic Park movie.
What I'm
They already
saying
did.
is,
Yeah.
even though,
I just saw
but
it.
see that it's still in the Jurassic Park universe. What I'm thinking for us is authentically created dinosaur stories from a Afrofuturistic perspective. So it may seem something that we can't imagine yet, but it's Gary's kids and I'm gonna push myself to think of it. The dinosaurs may not be coming back to kill us. Dinosaurs may be doing something other for us. But I think I want to see it. You know, so that's what I think the Afrofuturism
stop
will
working,
be.
and now we got to create dinosaurs to use as work piece.
Something. I mean, if you put it to your kids,
That's
I
what
mean,
happened in the story with Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
They wrote the story along the line that the pets died, so we decided to grab monkeys and train them, and they evolved within certain generations, and they're like, screw this. At least that's one storyline that they did for the original Planet of the Apes.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming. I thank all the panelists. We made the best of a non-panel room. Thank you guys. Ms. Stanford has her bookmarkers here. I have my bookmarkers. I'm actually at a table in there, so I don't have my books with me selling them. But please support us, friend us, like us, follow us. Whatever. Yeah.
With Keith Wade as well.
And Keith has his show Sci-Fi Saturday. So thank you very much, everybody. Oh, and next we'll be at this Book Life. I know you if you have one.
Absolutely. You know, Miss Carol said hi. Pastor Chief down in Miami.
What?
Children's pastor.
What?
I remember. Let me turn this off.
She's never here.